Hello everyone, welcome to the next episode on your Salesforce journey. Today we have with us Abhinav Gupta. As everyone knows, he's ATEX MVP. He's founder and CEO at Crinky.io, and he's a amazing trailblazer. I personally follow him a lot. So let's start and speak with him and know his insights on his journey. Hey Abhinav, firstly, thanks for taking out time and joining us for your Salesforce Journey podcast. And we are really excited to have you here. So just to probably start with, I would like to ask how was the journey like? I saw that you have been working with MetaQ for like around 6 years, and then you switched to another organization, then you started Concrete.io. So how was the journey like? What were the thoughts at different phases of career as well as personal life as well? So how did it go through and how is it going?
Yeah, great question, man. And first of all, thank you, Sanjeet, for having me on your podcast. So my journey, my roots are basically from mechanical. I studied air conditioning a lot. I studied refrigeration a lot. So I know all these ducting designs to some extent. Still, I can recall those things. And then somehow I was not getting good job there. So I got into computers and Pratham Software was my first company. I spent nearly 2 years there. And then I went to MetaCube. So I was originally again not a Salesforce guy. I used to love exploring things in Java. I did a lot of Microsoft related stuff in my early career days.
Mm-hmm.
And that time was an era, there was limited internet. So desktop applications were more popular.
Mm-hmm.
So we used to do those desktop applications. Like if you remember, Visual Basic was a thing.
Yeah, with the
Like,
PB.
yeah, VB.
Yeah.
And VB courses were very highly paid and like very much in demand at those time. So,
Mm-hmm.
and then, yeah, it eventually moved on from Java to Salesforce. Within MetaQ, I got a chance to work with a very good client, and that's how this thing started. And that's another story in it altogether. Like, I didn't want to come into Salesforce. I was really in love with Java, but it somehow happened.
So was it by accident or was it kind of you were pushed to do it or was it by choice?
No, it was a sort of soft push. So 2008 was a time when you remember there's a recession.
Recession. Yeah.
There's a meltdown, and that whole thing was happening. And what happened is my CEO called me in the cabin, like there is an opportunity, there is a Salesforce related project, and you have to go abroad. And that time I had some family thing going on in India. I can't go there. So it's rare that people want to avoid an abroad trip. Like it's a charm for every engineer
Yeah.
to go to USA, especially go close to the Bay Area. But I was like, yeah, I have to skip this thing anyhow. So I was in visa interview, and you can assume that I have this kind of shirt. So I opened this button. I was wearing sleeves up, and I was seeing all the guys in ties and those things, so that the visa interview gets cleared. And I was in full mood. Ki, no, boss, I don't want to get this visa, and I want to stay in India because there's a lot going at home at that time. But somehow, some things are destined,
Yeah.
and they actually gave me the visa. So they took my passport, and I was looking at them. Oh man, this is not what I planned. So that's how it is. But then
So
it was
then
good.
you went
Mhm.
there?
Yeah, yeah. So it was a first 3 months long trip, and then there were multiple trips like that. Then it's an yearly affair. I don't know what happened. Every time that client and some other client, they used to call me for 3 months, 2 months, 4 months. So they were short trips, but it was quite frequent. And initially, again, it was Salesforce plus Java, but then I think Java faded out, and it was more and more of Salesforce only.
Great. So you got like a good exposure with that client.
Yes. So the interesting thing was like I really came to know about Salesforce. Like firstly, it was a thing like what is Salesforce? Like in 2008, nobody knew about that thing. And Java was really a big thing. Like people aspire to be a Java engineer. It was the hot thing at that time. So I was doing really well in Java, and I'm really proud of my skills in Java. And then suddenly you are told to do something which is not very code heavy. It is config heavy thing. So assume
Configure.
from that developer's mindset or programmer's mindset. So that's how it started. But then I realized the value in the things which Salesforce is doing. It took a while.
Then how did Concrete.io happen after that?
So after MetaCube, I was working in like community a lot as well. I got that Salesforce MVP title. I wrote a book as well. And in the meantime, I got an opportunity from Gurgaon, like near Delhi NCR region for the international audience. So that's a near city near the national capital. So there's a
Mhm.
startup who are into a staffing business and they want to start their own Salesforce practice. So they invited me as a CTO. So in 2010, this happened, and that time my total experience was 6 years. So I
Mhm.
was too young to be CTO, but they were really impressed with the kind of content I'm creating on blogs, and they took my interviews. So I said, no, I will not be CTO. I will be your technical architect, or you can call me chief architect. I will not take a CTO position. It is really too early for me to do those things. But I
Mhm.
loved that tenure. I stayed there for 2 to 3 years, I think. And in that time, there was not a single guy. And from there, we built a team of 80 people, the whole Salesforce practice. So that experience uh, brought that business angle into me, like how businesses are done and things are done. So after I'm done with that company, I took a 1 year break. I wanted to relax a bit. So I was just freelancing for 1 year to really know what I want to do. And that was, I
Mhm.
think, the best time. You should really have that kind of thing because it was no job. I used to work whatever I like to do. And then I started slowly getting a feel in 2014 that let's go ahead and let's start adding some team because I was getting project requests. And I was also feeling that I'm not a loner kind of person. I enjoyed that for 1 year. Then I felt like yeah, I need 4, 5, 10 people around me because I love to talk to people in general a lot. So
Mhm.
then I started incorporating this company.
Oh, great. Great. No, I also freelanced for a bit before I started up, but I think it is kind of a similar ride with everybody has, right?
Right, right. You start with freelancing and then you eventually go into
And
this
you
thing.
go into a company mode, then you have a lot of projects, less people, right? You create a team, and then
Right.
sometimes you have less projects, more people. So that it is kind of both ways, right? So
Yeah, that
that is
puzzle
a,
is really hard to solve. There is no
yeah,
perfectness.
a balance between the requirement and the resource is like really hard to manage at times.
Right.
Right. Perfect. I think when you started, probably S controls were there, or you were working on visual forces?
Good question. So I worked a bit in S controls, but then Apex and VF were taking off. So at that time, we dropped S controls. So it was very brief stint, not much. And then S control used to be a thing where you cannot do things in a certain way with Apex or VF. You have to fall back to S control.
S
So
control.
it's a very, very, very brief like exposure with them.
Like PDF creation was, something that VF could do when Lightning is there. So I think similar kind of a structure.
Correct. Exactly. Yeah, that's a good example.
So since in Salesforce, I think every 3 months, 4 months, there's something coming out. How do you keep up with the pace, right? So currently there are like service GPTs there, sales GPTs there, marketing GPTs there. I'm not sure if it is just a buzz or it is something solid to fall back on. But how do you keep up with since things are changing from probably S controls, then VF pages, then in Aura components, now LWCs are there, functions are there, right? So how do you keep up with the what is going on, and also what customer demands? So how is your usual routine like on that?
Yeah. So see, in that regard, it is always tricky. Like when I started this company, even before that, I think in 2013 only, when I left the job, I at time was thinking that Salesforce is mainly config heavy platform. And that time, Benioff himself said that said something like it's a social mobile, and I don't know what's the third thing. There was a quote and reinforce. So I was
Mm-hmm.
very optimistic about mobile, that if somebody is having good hold on mobile platforms,
Mm-hmm.
their career is going to shine out. So I actually joined a startup at a less salary. I told them it's a US-based startup that, and even I invested $500 monthly on their stocks also. There is an
Okay.
option where you can use convertible notes or currency notes. I don't know what's that term.
Mm-hmm.
You can buy those things. So I was very promised, or you can say optimistic about the whole thing that let's
Mm-hmm.
do it. So I learned iOS programming in this 1 year. And again, my goal was that I was getting really high in experience. So I just don't want to put Salesforce experience on table. If let's say in 2013, I'm 9 years experience, so I should have a little broad vision on horizon to answer more complex question. Let's say I want an app. If customer says that, then I can tell them, okay, do this thing on iOS, do this thing as an hybrid app. That time that was the mindset.
Mm-hmm.
So I literally signed out from Salesforce for 1 year, and I did that again. Actually, in 2022,
You
I was again
NFT.
scared. Yeah, I
Yeah.
totally was into blockchain. I went to IIT course, and then I learned all sort of blockchain programming and those things. And then, but this year, the AI is the trend.
AI is that trend. Are you planning
So
to take a
it's,
break and move towards AI now?
I mean, it's crazy, right? I mean, if can say in all honesty, it is really crazy to keep up with this space. Like you pick one thing and then you don't know where it will go. But yeah, definitely AI is the thing. These GPTs, I think, are not fake because I wrote a LinkedIn post that Chat
I saw
GPT,
that.
yeah, might suffer because every app, every enterprise app, not like normal app, like Gmail has the generative AI, Google
Generative
Docs
AI.
has generative AI. So the reason is there is a lot of personal data in the enterprise system. If we take everything out to ChatGPT, that is not possible. But if Gmail is giving you a generative AI that is based on your data,
Yeah.
that is
So
more
on
powerful.
like if Salesforce gives you on platform centric generative AI, that would add a lot of value, right? So you can search on your data set and generate a report. Something like somebody wants to generate a report, right? He can just type in and the data is sucked and it creates a report, beautiful dashboard and is presented.
Correct,
I think
correct.
that could be something.
Yeah, and the other thing is even if let's say ChatGPT gives a Salesforce plugin that okay, I can stuck in Salesforce data, but what's the guarantee? What's the trust that customers will put on ChatGPT that it's not going to train and use the same data somewhere else? But with Salesforce, at least they have a good thing that trust is there.
That's
That if
there.
they are isolating their org, so your customer data is for your own training and on your own generation only for any emails and any results. That is a big thing in generative
Yeah.
AI.
I think trust is the main thing, right, with data, because if there's no trust, people are really scared using it.
Correct.
Yeah. No, because I remember, last couple of sessions when we met, you were talking mostly on NFTs. So you also mentioned that you have been very aggressive with NFTs. How are things going now? Are you still working towards blockchain or kind of on hold or slowed down on that?
So what we are doing is we got early access to Salesforce Web3 NFT Cloud. There are two different names. I think it is now called Salesforce Web3. Initially, it was
Web3,
called
yeah.
NFT Cloud. So we got a hold of that package thanks to Charlie and his team. We explored that a bit and we know how it works. So that knowledge is there. Apart from that, we are still building some small POCs for integrating things even beyond Salesforce Web3 and on top of Salesforce Web3. That in case some leads or inquiries come. So it's a you can say future preparation. I don't think Web3 is going anywhere, but because of crypto and general recession or whatever you can
Decision.
say, it is not that happening as of now. There is a
Yeah.
bearish kind of phase in crypto market. All the PFP, PFP projects like Bored Ape Yacht Club,
Mhm.
CryptoPunks, they're losing their floor and their value. So
I think
market
it is
is
mostly
correcting.
because of the market, the recession hitting and people who don't want to experiment more. And that probably can be the
Correct.
reason there.
The liquidity is low, and then all PFPs are not bad. Like CryptoPunks has a lot of historic value. Bored Ape is a very good community,
Mhm.
but then there are many people who scam. Like anybody and everybody is launching a PFP. Like there are 10,000, let's say, snake images.
Mhm.
So that doesn't make sense. You have to do a lot beyond to build a value. So that correction
Right.
is also coming. So maybe in 2 years we'll see. Like in with Salesforce NFT Cloud, Hot Wheels is a customer. Then
Mhm.
there are some, I think, liquor
Adidas
brands
is
who are
also right,
customers.
if I'm not wrong.
Adidas has its own Web3 offering, and that is very strong. They
Yeah,
are
yeah,
very high in the
because
game.
because I usually visit Adidas website and they have NFT and everything listed there.
Correct. So Disney is coming with something like that. I think every enterprise is coming in after 2, 3 years when it is becoming more and more normal, less crypto dependent. Then I think it will definitely pick up again, but it will take time now.
Yeah, I think it has slowed down a bit, but it is nothing to fade away. Mm, that will kind of pick up. So what is so this AI thing, right? Have you implemented anything related to AI in your organizations to improve your processes and all, or not at all? Like, have you utilized some bit of generative AI at your end as well?
So we are building some industry specific use cases like with the Einstein prediction builder and recommendation builder. And those are very like detailed POCs so that we can replicate it for any end customer. And lately we are exploring AWS Kendra, Kendra, So that is a plug and play kind of AI model that works within your thing, and it is offering, you can say, NLP kind of searches. So we are exploring that thing. That looks interesting. We got a lead who wants to do that kind of integration. So we are again researching beyond Salesforce AI, and we are researching what Salesforce also has to offer.
Okay, great. So you're like kind of having integration with Salesforce, but also exploring other technologies and what best can we deliver. And internally,
Correct.
also any plans of using that?
Yeah, see, in general, we do things for our customers. So like within Salesforce, we have this Einstein and GPT related offering. So goal is to upskill and be really ready with different industry use cases. Then there is beyond Salesforce. At times, people love what AWS has to offer, and Kendra is amazing. It can actually connect 4 or 5 different data sources and can generate NLP queries and answers based on that. So there is different unique value in that also. So we will see what happens, but we are not going deep into direct AI. We are not hiring data scientists because that is a heavy kind of job, and we are not an AI company as of now. It's easy to do that in this era. Everybody is having a .ai domain suddenly, but we don't
Yeah.
want to play that game unless you're really ready.
Got it. Got it. Are you like, is this kind of a preparation for another product also on App Exchange or somewhere, or just for the customers?
Initially, very frankly, I was very excited to offer something related to NFTs, but I'm yet to see some traction and some more things. So maybe first on that. AI, again, I have to get hold of GPT things and then make sense key what is the gap in the GPT offerings, what other things we can add on top of it to make it more valuable. And again, check with Salesforce also that it should not be on their roadmap.
Right. That is also another problem, right? So if you build something that is on their roadmap, they won't push it to App Exchange.
Correct.
Okay, got it. Great. So, somebody starting, in this probably say 2023, and since the market is on a bit of a slowdown, I'm not sure how things that are your end, but in general, market is kind of on a slow. And we posted, I think last week we posted for a freshers opening, and we got like 300-400 emails in like 1 hour. So that is, I think, everybody's craving for jobs. And couple of years ago, it was a resource crunch, right? Nobody was able to hire. So in this time, since you have gone through the 2008 recession, right? So what are your tips for somebody who's trying to get a job and is also skilled probably, and he understands maybe basics of programming and all, straight out of college? What are your tips for him? Like how should he leverage, say, LinkedIn, Twitter, or whatever other platforms you might have?
See, I would say GitHub is the best thing one can do if they are really serious about things. So now I think the good thing is there are a lot of hackathons, and many hackathons have a public GitHub account connected to the submission. So if you build a solid GitHub and it is a genuine project, so it is very, very respectful along with your resume and whatever you quote in resume. Mostly, if I get a resume and I see a GitHub link, I just go there. I don't read the resume. I will see like what this guy has done, what kind of commits are happening in this repo, who has committed to the repo. So that builds a lot of confidence. And again, on LinkedIn, I would say Twitter and Salesforce is dull. There's not
Yeah.
much engagement, and people don't know how to use Twitter. No offense anybody, but Twitter is not used the way it is meant to be used. But LinkedIn definitely create good research. Don't put like how to create a Apex class kind of blog. Do some authentic research and create some good content. Like you're doing podcasting, so that's a good content. It's a conversation, and you're trying to identify like what is happening in the market and trying to cover that too. So create some content which has some value. Don't create content for just sake of posting it. Like if you really want good engagement on LinkedIn, post something against employers. It will get a lot of likes and retweets and reposts, whatever you do in LinkedIn. But that again is not helping your personal
Not
brand
adding
if you enjoy.
value.
Right. Rather, if you go to a summit, you go to an event, you shake hands with people, or even people now encourage in meetups. Like if they are young chaps, they want to present. They are like Salesforce meetups. I know they are happy to give a seat as a presenter to these guys. So if you do these things, post these things, they will build a lot of confidence, and maybe try to organize events like community events that will show other management management skills, soft skills of yours. Tech skills again are easy to acquire, and the dynamic of tech skills are changing a lot. So at least show those skills maybe. that can
And
be
I
a
think
good
in
starter.
Salesforce events also, student corner is something that has been encouraged right over a period of time. So every event probably I see there's a student corner.
Right, right. And you know, I just recalled one thing about Student Corner. Every event, they need good volunteers. And there is a big struggle to get a serious volunteer who just don't want their name on the website, who really want to work. If you work as a volunteer in an event, so those guys who are organizing the event, they are mostly well placed in any small or big company. So you will develop a bond with them, you will vibe with them, and they will help you grow in your career. So they will tell you, okay, boss, 5 companies, these are these opening. Why don't you go there? They will send your resume to 10 other companies.
Or they
So
will
that
refer
there is,
you also.
yeah,
No, that is something great point. By the way, it did not came to my mind. Volunteering is also another good option, right, to interact. Ultimately, it is more
right,
about networking, right? It
correct,
is
yeah,
about knowledge and networking.
right. And LinkedIn again is crowded. Salesforce again, good part is there are a lot of events happening now. Previously,
Yeah.
there were very limited cities and limited meetups. So just show up. Don't be a shy person. Don't just go for tea and food. Go talk authentically. Introduce yourself. Tell what you really want. Don't talk sideways. Direct say that I'm doing this thing. Can you help me? If you will say this to 5 people, I would say 3 will fake out. Yeah, yeah, we will help. But 2 will be genuinely interested that, yeah, this guy is talking. Let me see what I can do. Or if they will meet you 2 times, they will remember that this guy is showing up again and again. This guy is really serious. Let's do something about him.
Yeah. No,
So,
I think Salesforce community is kind of very well knit and everybody responds and we get a lot of valuable suggestions. Events are amazing, sessions are amazing. You can, speak to anybody and everybody, right?
right,
Nobody, is kind of showing you attitude there, or everybody is kind of very neutral and everybody is free, right? They have a free mind. So everybody is free to collaborate because the reason to be there in the event is to collaborate, right? So
correct.
that is something that I also uh, I have been attending events from like last year or so. Before that, I didn't used to attend one, but I think I really enjoy being there and meeting everybody. Now
Right,
again,
right.
2 events are coming, right? One is the MuleSoft Dreamin and then WIT.
Correct, correct. So the guys, I think MuleSoft Remain, I'm a little behind, but I think it's online event, right?
No, it's in Delhi. It's a in-person event.
In
If
person
I'm
event.
not
Okay.
wrong, I'll have to
Yeah,
recheck. But
even
if I'm not wrong, it is an in-person event.
right. With Remain, I remember it will happen in Jaipur. So the guys who are Jaipur and nearby, even in India, who want to help their team, just go connect with them. Neetu and I think Khyati are the organizer. They will
Mhm.
definitely be very happy to onboard you. Same goes for MuleSoft Remain team.
Amit is, I think, organizing from SFTC Panthers. He's one
Correct.
of
Yeah, I think
the
I'm Singh.
yeah, Amit is in touch with me. Great. So, when we're talking about Salesforce again, if I'm not wrong, you do a lot of PDO projects also, right? You build a lot of apps. So, what is
Mhm.
your thought from a business perspective, from a business lens, basically, that services are something you should go for, or it is more of PDO for a long term? Like, what are your thoughts, and how many products have you built, and what are the results?
Yeah, so see, PTO is you can say certification or a badge on top of consulting partnership layer. So if
Mhm.
you like in consulting normal, you help other customers to be successful and implement their Salesforce. But in PDO, you find like guys like with ideas, other
Mhm.
businesses,
Mhm.
vendors who want to build apps, or there are businesses who have existing solutions, but they want to integrate with the
Salesforce.
Salesforce. So the product development outsourcer PTO is again a services thing where you are just outsourcing your product development to us. And again, anybody can be PTO. There is a requirement which you can find on partner portal of Salesforce. And you have to do certain app exchange projects and show the successful public listings. And this is again services, not really product development. We have done, I think, for 30 or 40 apps right now who are live and who are successful. And PDO is again interesting because in services, let's say you are implementing for Philips
Mhm.
Salesforce. So the org will be single type of org, let's say professional edition, enterprise edition. And you know the requirements, and there will not be a sideways kind of thing that, okay, in this org this will happen, or in this org it will be a different edition of feature. So implementation is little easy that way, but when you do PDO work, PDO is complex because you don't know your app is it going in professional edition, enterprise, or somewhere up? So you are always challenged by that dynamic nature of where your app can land into, what kind of validation rules and processes triggers will be there. So it is little challenging of a consulting
And
project.
also the security review is also a bit challenging at times
Oh,
done by
right.
Salesforce.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is pain, and they are very particular. I think this is where Salesforce has really done well, because Apple and Android, if you compare, Android, it is easy to get approved apps, but the quality lags. But in Apple, it is a very tight security policy,
Right.
so people respect Apple in that way. So Salesforce, I think, is doing good in that way.
Yeah, I don't know. So we are also planning to launch one of our products on App Exchange. So we are going through
Oh,
that
nice.
route. Did not submit it for the review. We are in process for doing so. But I have read a lot of blogs, lot of videos. Spoke to a lot of BDO and ISV partners who have built a lot of apps. But they were like, yeah, it is a bit tough, but keep the momentum on.
Yeah, that's
So
really
yeah,
nice.
uh,
Congratulations.
thanks. So actually, we had a similar requirement for like 10 different customers over like last 3 years. So we kept on building, and I thought, why not put it on the App Exchange? Maybe somebody else also can use it.
Yeah, for sure, good idea. And App Exchange, again, there are companies who are services initially, but now they're app heavy because
Yes.
the app did really well. So that's a very
Yeah.
good business move also.
Yeah. Perfect. Abhinav, I have another question. So talking about MetaCube, right? I see a lot of entrepreneurs, coming out of MetaCube. Was the company's culture, sir, that it was more of entrepreneurial culture, or what is a similar? Because I see lot and lots of entrepreneurs, especially in Jaipur. I think most of the companies doing really good. Everybody is from MetaCube. So
Yeah,
what
so
is the reason for that?
yeah, I think MetaCube is my past employer. And again, as they say, now, like at times you remember your access with grudges, but at times you remember them in a good way. So MetaCube is definitely a very good company to work for. And I would say there is a thing that when MetaCube started in Salesforce, there is no other company, even the big fours, they are not doing Salesforce.
Mhm.
So they were one of the earliest company in 2007 and 8 who went into Salesforce thing. And then over the span of 4 or 5 years, the senior layer of Salesforce with, let's say, 10 years of .NET experience, Java experience, and then 4 or 5 years of Salesforce experience were mostly with MetaCube. So
Mhm.
over the time, they become, you can say, hotspot for finding the right Salesforce talent, because after 2012, 2013, suddenly the hype and the requirement for Salesforce guys was raising like anything. So that's where you see all the guys are from MetaCube, especially in the Jaipur region and the company
Yeah.
in Rajasthan area, especially.
Yeah, most of them are probably from MetaCube, right? Have one of the other experience with MetaCube. And MetaCube, if I'm not wrong, somebody told me that they started with some coaching institution and eventually they turned out to be a software development. Is that true?
Right, right. So the founder of MetaCube, Mr. Keshav Sharma, he is from IIT Kharagpur, if I'm not wrong, and he's
Mhm.
an excellent educator himself. He's a brilliant teacher, brilliant person, and he was running one of the most premium computer institute in Jaipur called Systems,
Mhm.
and it was like really a premium institute in terms of kind of teachers they had. And then gradually they became MetaCube. Like as it typically happens, you have a good pool of teachers, good pool of IT
Resources.
resources. So then they eventually became MetaCube. But yeah, they were really renowned for the kind of education they offered, and they were best of the class at that time.
Great. No, I was very curious to understand that so many people out of the same organization. It is really hard to see.
Right. And even my early days, I don't know how much of the culture is still there. There is still those kind of people in MetaCube who love that kind of culture. We used to have debates about the tree structure, how the algorithm is working, what's the data structure is, because typically if you work in any other company, these things are at times missing. But that time there are a lot of original those systems guys who are around. So that discussions were really fun to have, and it was a good company. And there is still a college-like culture there. I mean, which really helps to keep it light.
No, I know a couple of my friends also. They were also in MetaQ previously, and they were like, the culture is really good. If there is
Right.
work, there is work. If there is no work, then you
You
probably
can chill.
engage. You book a maybe a conference hall, just interact, understand what is going on, and very open culture, right?
Right.
No,
So
we
that's
have
how
also
you talk
started.
about access. That's how you
Sorry?
talk about access. Yeah, I'm saying like that's how you
Yeah,
talk
yeah,
about access.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
something for new generation to remember.
yeah, for sure. Because you can't have this environment in a corporate, in a probably a large corporate. Right? So that
Correct,
is something.
correct.
No, we also do internally, we do a Tuesday session. So this is something I started when we started this organization. So every Tuesday, be it a fresher, be it somebody experienced or myself, somebody has to present for 30 minutes, kind of improves your presentation skills. Everybody is updated with what is going on. And
Mhm.
also, we have this environment. Even if I'm not there or somebody is not there, it still happens. And it is kind of a recurring meeting invite shared with the entire team. We have something called as Tuesday sessions.
Well, that's really good. These soft skills really help with clients also because then
Yeah.
you know how can you explain the things to clients. That's
Yeah,
really good.
that is the reason, we came up with this idea of Tuesday sessions.
Right.
Perfect. So, probably my last question here. So, I think couple of days ago, you might have heard about this news, right? Salesforce had increased their prices by 9-10%, something they increased, right? So, with the economic crisis and the price increase, where do you think, and with all these products being launched, where do you think Salesforce will go in, say, next 5-7 years?
I think pricing wise, if I still see like Salesforce is really offering top of the notch like products.
Mhm.
So pricing again, I'm not the best guy to answer, but the kind of value they bring to the table, it is really good. Like if you see all the flow enhancements and different kind of things which are
Great.
happening, it is really tough now with the GPT thing. It is really quickly integrated into the whole thing. And I mean, ChatGPT started getting popularity when last, I think in June, July last year or August last year. And now we are nearly in the same time frame and you have a live sales GPT and I think service GPT
Marketing
there.
GPT,
So
service GPT. Yeah.
correct. So that adds a lot of value. And again, these AI things, they are really complex. Like if we see the kind of computational power it takes to do the generative AI stuff, the kind of high quality team you need to do those AI research. So probably you're getting more value out of the thing. And prompt engineering probably is the best future skill.
Right.
So yeah, admins might call themselves prompt engineers in future. They will write, okay, create a flow that is doing that thing. So that will do that stuff. And then maybe they can write a prompt to say that, okay, why don't you test this thing also? So that might do that as well. So it will
Right.
be more and more of prompt engineering.
So like if I conclude it, it is like Salesforce is still the best, right? And it is going nowhere, right, in next 7 5 7 years.
Yeah, if you see like Salesforce challenges yourself a lot, like if at times you feel stagnated in a platform, it is not happening at all. So that I think is a brilliant sign and the kind of acquisition and the way they have integrated everything. So I'm very optimistic about it.
And I think Hyperforce also, every other day I have an email from Salesforce regarding some Hyperforce update. So I think they are very
Right.
aggressive towards the removing the multi-tenancy, solving customers' problem in that sense as well.
Correct. And with that also like the Salesforce India CEO, Ms. Arundhati, so they are doing a lot of right things in India also. So as of now, I think majority of companies that depend abroad for business. We might have a lot of business opportunities in India with the way she is driving the whole thing.
Yeah, no, I think there's a lot of traction in India. Mm, Probably, I know few partners who work aggressively in India, and they were saying that it is really good. The market is really good.
Correct, correct.
Perfect. Thanks for your time, Abhinav. I think we are on time, and thanks for joining us after multiple reschedules. But yeah, finally we are able to make it. Once again, thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, sorry about the reschedules, and it's a good conversation. Thank you, Sanjay.
Thank you.